Hi guys! So, you decided to play the flute. That's great. Welcome to the club. Now, whether you're a 5th or 6th or 4th grader getting ready to join band for the first time and you're really excited, or you're a little bit older and you decided to pick up the flute, that's wonderful. It's never too late to learn an instrument. We're so glad to have you. So today, this video is going to cover 3 things. A little bit of hygiene, general flute care, and how to put together and take apart your instrument, okay? Now, first things first, we're going to talk about the hygiene. Now, this is especially important if you have band right after lunch or right after breakfast when you've eaten. Also, if you have it right after recess, or if you've been to art class and you have some weird stuff going on, okay? So the important thing is to make sure that your hands, your chin, and your mouth are clean. Doing these things will really preserve the life of the metal of your flute and also of the pads underneath the keys, because these are no fun when things start to go wrong with them. It's just extra money and it just doesn't make very good sounds. So these will really help prevent that, okay? Now, one thing, if you're at school and you're getting ready to go to band, one thing I encourage you to do is either right before class or during passing period to go to the bathroom and wash your hands. This can also be done if your parents send you to school with Purell, or if they have wet naps or something in the cafeteria, you can use those. The important thing is to just make sure that your hands are clean and that they're dry, so that you're not transferring whatever weird food or glue or paint onto your flute. And this will really save the life and preserve your flute longer. Okay? Likewise, cleaning out your mouth helps too. I encourage having a water bottle regardless of whether you're having lunch right before or not. The nature of breathing for our instrument means that it kind of encourages dry mouth. So having something to drink is not necessarily a bad thing. Also, it can help with the dizziness if you're new to the flute and you're getting dizzy and lightheaded from playing because of the way we use our air. It can really help with that too. If nothing else, it gives you a chance to take a break, regain your bearings, get your breath back. Okay? So you take, I'm going to take a sip. And kind of switch it around. Make sure that there's no food left over in your teeth. And cleaning your face can help too. Nobody wants to look at the leftover food on your face. So, serves a two-way purpose, right? Okay. So now that your hands and your mouth and your face are clean, we can start to put together the flute. Now, you have a case, and maybe it looks like this, maybe it looks a little different. This particular flute is an intermediate Gemeinhardt, and so it has the slidey latches, but a lot of yours probably have the buckle latches on the end there that flip, and there's a little hinge. And the important thing to know is that the hinges on those buckles are the top side, so it'll always open. The latch will always open up. I've never seen one that opens the other way. So that's one way to tell which way is up and which way is down. On the sliding cases, usually there's just kind of metal right there, and that's where the mechanism is within the case. So once again, the mechanism is going to be on top. Likewise, your case may have the manufacturer name on the top part of your case, right there, or this case doesn't have it, but I know some of them, like on the right-hand corner there, will have the name of the manufacturer or brand. I know my first case was an Armstrong, and it said Armstrong right there. And then sometimes they also have like the little logo on top. Now, if your case doesn't have that, or even if it does, I would encourage either putting a sticker with like maybe your piece of tape with your name, so that you know which flute is yours, or a sticker. You know, it could be a unicorn or a puppy or a Ninja Turtle. Batman, I don't know, whatever you like, on top so that you know which side is up. Okay? So, now that we know how to open our case and which side is up, next question. What do I do with it? Now, being a fairly short person myself, I'm 4'11", when I was in 5th grade, I was 4'5", so I understand the struggle of putting your feet flat on the floor and trying to keep your lap flat while you're trying to open the case and put the cylindrical instrument together, and it wants to slide and slip off. And one thing that I've done pretty much all my life, and that my teacher encourages me to do, at least when I practice I do this, I don't do it so much in rehearsal anymore because there's just not room with my band, so it's pretty big, is sit on the floor and put your flute flat on the seat of the chair. And it's how I put my flute together a lot of the time, especially when I'm practicing. So then you open the flute up, and you have all these pieces. Now what? Okay? Well, first things first. I would encourage you, if you're at home, or if you're a little bit older, and it's okay with your teacher or whoever, to have your phone out, to take a picture of what your flute looks like when you open it up. That way you always know you have a reference of where everything goes and how it looked, so that you can compare it when you put your flute away at the end. So I really encourage doing that. Okay. But, and that's a big but, if your teacher is not okay with you having your phone out in class, do not take your phone out and take a picture of your flute, okay? Maybe do it when you're at home, or maybe ask the teacher if you could do that, okay? Alright, so that's done. How do we put the flute together? Well, let's talk about the different parts of the flute. We've got the head joint, the foot joint, and the body. Now, given those names, I'm pretty sure that you could probably figure out the order they go in, but we're going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay? So first things first, we're going to take the body of the flute out of the case. You're going to grasp it by the barrel, which is, I'm going to move my hands a little bit, this part right here. It's a little thicker and it has the two rings there. A lot of times it says the manufacturer name, sometimes it has the serial number, sort of stuff right there. And you're going to grasp it by that. Never ever hold your flute by the keys and the rods, because things get bent and then the flute doesn't play right, and you have to take it in and get it repaired. Okay? Alright. Now you may notice that my flute looks a little different than yours. It has these holes in it. A lot of yours probably have keys that look more like this key all the way down, which is fine. That's good. It's just a little easier to play that way, because then you don't have to worry about having your hands exactly perfect and covering the keys, especially if you have smaller hands. It makes it a little easier. Okay? So that's why that looks different. So you're going to hold it there. Alright. Next, we're going to take the foot joint out. Now, just like the body, you never want to grip it by the keys. You're going to hold it by the end here, where there aren't any keys or rods to get in your way. And what you're going to do is you're going to put them, oh my goodness, I'm shaking. You're going to put them straight on and gently twist until they fit snug together. Now, there are two different ways you can tell they're lined up. Either this long rod here lining up with this E-flat key right there, or this rod here lining up with the center of this key here. Both of those will tell you that it's in line. And there may be a little bit of wiggle room either way, just depending on the size of your hands, but generally that's a good place to start. Okay? Now, if you have one thing you never want to do, you never ever want to put your flute together at an angle like that. Always go straight on. Because when you put it together at an angle, you're training that metal. You're bending that metal. And so, till one day, you put your flute together, you're getting ready to play a piece, and you're holding it, and you go up like this, and the foot joint falls off. And then your foot joint is bent and on the ground, and it's no fun, and you don't want that. Okay? So never ever put your foot joint and your body together like that. Always go straight on. Okay? Alright. So next part of the flute, the head joint. So we're going to grab the head joint, and you're going to turn the flute so that the keys are facing you, and that the foot joint is resting on your leg, and you're going to gently twist the flute on. Now, I don't necessarily encourage you twisting the flute until it feels like it's seated, until it can't go any further, because that has a little bit to do with tuning, which you'll learn more about as you get more advanced. But right now, a good rule of thumb is to have your head joint pulled about a quarter of the way out, so you can see a little bit of the rougher looking metal. Okay, and that'll help you be a little more in tune with the rest of the band to start off with. It'll give you a little bit of leeway to move your flute in or out depending on whether you're sharp or flat, and you'll learn how to judge that as you get more advanced. Okay? Alright. So, you have your flute together, and you've been playing, but it's time to pack up. It's the end of band. What do? I forgot how it goes. Alright? So this is how it goes. What you do is you take your flute apart, holding from the same places that you used to put it together. You have your picture reference, so you can look at that. The lip plate generally is towards the left, with the crown of the flute is towards the left. Generally, that's speaking. It can be a little different, but there should be a little bit of an indent where the actual lip plate goes within the velvet of your case, so that's one way to tell. Okay, and then once again, twisting gently off, straight off, do that, and then you take your flute, and never put the keys face down. That'll bend them and they won't fit, okay? Likewise, the rod usually is facing you and the keys are facing away from you. That's usually the way it goes. Okay, and then we have the body. What we're going to do is we're going to put it in the case. It's the long one, and the A-flat key, which is this key right here, this long one that sticks out that kind of looks like a banana, that's going to be facing you. And always make sure, once again, that you never put the flute down in with the keys facing down, because that can do a lot of damage. Okay, and I always encourage you taking the flute apart first and putting it in the case before you try and clean it, because then you don't have to worry about things rolling around and falling off and all kinds of bad things happening. Okay, so then what you're going to do is most flute cases come with a cleaning rod like this, either metal or wood or plastic like this one, and I encourage you, if you have a metal one, to look into maybe getting a plastic or a wood one, because the metal can sometimes scratch and cause problems with the inside of your instrument. Smaller surface area, it's usually made out of a harder metal than the actual flute, so it can just cause some problems. So yeah, and also you're going to want, a piece of cloth. Cotton works really well. Also, silk can work really well, and cut it 12 by 12. This one's a little rolled up. This is, once again, this is my friend's, and hers is a little weird, but kind of like that. What you're going to do is you're going to take it, corner of it, and you're going to thread it through the eye, and then you're going to flip it over and twist it so that it's not a lot of extra stuff. And then what you want to do is you want to take the instrument from where it's going to be wettest to where it's going to be driest. Push it through, all the way through. This one bunches weird. Once again, it's not mine. So ideally you want to pass this all the way through the instrument. Okay? And then you do the same thing. I'm holding where my fingers actually go, but once again, you should hold by the barrel. And you pass it from where you, the driest part of it, through where it's wettest. If you have one that goes all the way through, which you should, this one doesn't. So I went halfway in there, and then I'm going to go the other way, halfway in there, and put out. And put the flute back carefully in the case. Okay. And then the head joint. Now this is a little different. You can't push it all the way through. There's what they call the crown at the end of it, which will stop it. Okay, so you're going to place it in the flute gently, twist, pull it out, and put your flute away. Now a lot of people have polishing cloths, which are usually blue, and they're kind of fuzzy, and what you're going to do with those is wipe down the lip plate and the keys very gently, and where your hands just gently touch the instrument. I encourage doing that every time you can. If you don't really have time, just make sure that you do it later after your practice session. This, once again, will preserve the life of the instrument. Okay? Alright, we're all done. Welcome to the world of flute.